On the supplemental, the Constitution requires that the appropriation bills all start off in Congress, in the House. This one was started in the Senate. It's unconstitutional. It's null and void. They have not spent any of the money yet. It will be a disaster to buy stock in banks. We're supposed to be regulating this, and Congress plays a major role in that. This should have been regulated. They've canceled many of the laws that regulate it. We've had this free market that is a disaster. And people saw this coming. It is not a surprise. And that thing was rushed through with no markup, no really debate on the floor where everybody stands up and postures, but it was no markup on the thing and nothing. $700 billion. The president said over 3 pages. It ended up 453 pages. One of my nephews sent me this list of things in it. I'll guarantee you, nobody would be able to understand that bill. I will bet that Jim didn't read the whole thing. I bet that. Okay, thank you very much.
Well, you're right. I didn't read all 456 pages. I did work with the chairman of the Banking Committee as well as the Banking Committee staff on the things I was most concerned about. I wanted to be able to help people stay in their homes to the extent possible. So we have a provision where those mortgages that we do acquire, that the government acquires, it can write them down to 90% of face value, and in return for the bank taking that haircut, presuming that the terms are then affordable by the mortgage holder, that the government will guarantee the loan. That's quite different from Senator McCain's approach, which is to buy the mortgages at 100% of face value, which I don't think is a good deal for the taxpayer. These loans are not worth 100% of face value, and I don't think the government should be owning all the loans. Again, I just feel more conservative for some reason here. I don't think we have any business of owning these loans. We don't have any business of owning the banks. But what we do need to do is to get the economy moving again. And when the credit markets freeze, we had to do something. Everyone was going to go, we are a credit-oriented economy. Hardly anybody uses cash, so you've got to be able to borrow. Every business needs to be able to borrow money to replenish its inventory. So once you have a credit freeze, then you've got to act to unfreeze it to get the market moving again, and that's why we had to pass the bill that we passed.
Yes. Oh, well, okay. Well, and you know what? Here's the way I look at this whole situation. One, obviously, we can do a better job. I think there wasn't enough oversight or involvement. I think everybody in this room can agree that, you know what, we could have done a better job with everybody, whether it's consumers, whether it's the financial industry, whether it's the government and some of these CRA laws that were passed. But I think that given the circumstances, we had to, at the time, when this was thrust upon us, they came out and just like bang and said, oh, by the way, if we don't sign this into law, we're going to have a financial meltdown on our hands. So we just have to kind of trust that Paulson and Bernanke and some of these other people who we've got to just, it's a very complex issue, but we've got to see if this is going to work. So while I don't agree with wasting taxpayers' dollars, I think we need to keep the government out of it as much as we can. I love our government workers, but I truly believe that in this case we have to keep the taxpayers first and foremost in our minds when we're passing laws like that.